Okay, welcome back to the channel everybody. It's Mike Newton down here at Penrith Golf Hub. It's driver review time and it's two new drivers from Srixon. We've got the ZX7 and also the ZX5. So two offerings from Srixon. We've got a little bit of technology to talk about in the head. Obviously we're going to test it. We've got TrackMan on the floor as always. So I'm going to provide you with some details of the looks, the feel and my preferences, if I do have any preferences on these two drivers. Okay, so ZX7, ZX5. So just quickly talking difference between these two and then we'll start hitting some shots. ZX7 is a little bit more of a compact, very sort of rounded shape, great looking golf club. First impressions, very much a lovely shape, bit of that carbon on the top. And then ZX5 is just a slightly bigger footprint, so a little bit more squashed out, a little bit longer from that face to the back edge of the golf club, and just looks a little bit more behind that sort of golf ball. So ultimately providing a little bit more forgiveness. But let's get underway, hitting some shots. We're going to start off with the ZX7, which I really like the shape of that, and then we'll move into the 5. Okay, so ZX7, we've got two movable weights on the sole, positioned at the back in the heel and the toe section. So you can potentially purchase, or I think you might get them with them, I don't know. I think you actually have to purchase extra sort of weights. Obviously through a fitting process, you maybe sort of want to move this more sort of fade or draw bias, obviously just trying to help control a little bit of club face, a little bit of shot direction. So there's that a little bit of help in the sole of the club. As you see with the 5 and the 7 models, we've got adjustability in the neck sleeve, so we can dial loft up and down, we can change lie angle, we can change face angle. So there's a lot of dialing in to sort of do. So I've got a 9.5 degree head in the ZX7. I've got this set at 9.5, so standard in that neck setting. And first impressions really as I put that down with the ball, again, as I just said, it's a beautiful shape. It's a very nice rounded shape. Black face, black top. It's a gloss top with that carbon effect that you can see through there. A little bit of lip sticking around that back section with a little bit of a red and like a grey detail in there, which does look very, very nice indeed. Okay, I'm going to get this first one underway. Okay, and that was a nice strike. Looks to be getting out there quite a long way there. That seemed to be pretty good, yeah. Club head speed 114, 167 ball speed, 307 carry. Whew. Pretty quick ball speed for me. So first instincts there, just with that strike, the sound was a little bit on the louder side. I was expecting to sort of hear, to be honest. You know, with that carbon crown, sometimes we tend to sort of see those more muted, sort of duller sounds. That was a little bit of a louder crack. Not obviously too loud by any means, but definitely a little bit of a louder crack than what I was expecting to hear. Oh, that's I've just come out of that a tiny bit there. That's a little bit off that bottom. That won't be as long there. Just moving up that right. I'll tell you what, ball speed's quick. Yeah, it wasn't much of a drop off there. See, that spin's just gone up a little bit there, but that ball speed is that's pretty quick for me. Moving that club head speed also 114, a little bit quicker today. So the shaft I've got this in is a hazardous smoke 6.0, so stiff flex in a 60 gram. I'm going to use exactly the same shaft as I move into the 5 for the same comparison. That's a nice shot, nice and straight. Just getting a nice little bit of a fade with these, which is quite refreshing. Again, 165.5, 293 carry spin, just climbed a little bit. That particular shot, just really the difference for me is when I just get that slight heel shot to that slight toe strike, that just changes that spin off. Okay, so there's a toey one. Moved a little bit up the left, so you see the shot direction straight away is different, slightly toe. That'd be pretty quick on that ball speed, 167. You see the spin drops right down to 2,100. I get a longer carry there, and that I could feel a bit of twist in that because I'd misstruck that slightly in that toe, so I can feel that. But that's where the difference of missing in that toe section can be, well, it depends on your delivery obviously, but it can be a little bit more beneficial hitting it toe than heel. That toe's moving a little bit quicker than the heel. It tends to pull that spin off and it tends to pop that launch up. So what sort of technology we've got happening in the ZX range? So we've got what we call a rebound frame. This is the big thing that Srixon are talking about. So a little bit of a strengthening section across that top of the golf club, around the sort of bottom, and then into the back section, which is basically going to be that frame. So that's trying to put energy back through that golf ball. As it absorbs, it sort of obviously flexes in the head. It's getting that energy going back into that golf ball, especially on those miss hits. We've then got that carbon crown as we've been talking about there, which is 15% larger than previous sort of models. So it just lips around a little bit there. You don't actually sort of see that, but it is 15% larger. Very, very light, obviously, with the carbon crown. Helps to save that weight, reposition that weight in other areas, to, again, trying to help that MOI. Again, it's a nice shot. I'll take that all day. Again, it's just that fraction heel. Just getting that real good feedback through the club as where I'm striking it. But I'll tell you what, that is some big numbers. I'm just slightly moving my strike there. But I'll take that shot every day of the week. Feeling pretty good today with the swing. Seems to be moving that club quite quickly for me. Oh, that's a good strike. I've just linked that up that right hand side. Don't sort of mind that shape too much for me. It's a little bit more of a protective one. But again, 165. Right, that's pretty impressive. So getting some good ball speeds there. Be interesting to see what the ZX5 has to offer. Right, okay, so moving into the ZX5. As I mentioned earlier in the video, just a slightly different head shape. A little bit longer from that head face to the back section. A little bit more drawn out at that back section. But apart from that, it is very, very similar look. We've got the carbon, we've got that little lipstick in there, black face. Everything looks very, very similar, just a slightly different shaping. Turn it up and looking at the bottom end of the golf club, obviously we lose that heel and toe weighting. Now we've just got one weighted position in the centre at the back, so obviously trying to pull that CG sort of low and back, maybe a little bit more higher launch, maybe a little bit more higher sort of spin, but ultimately as well a little bit more higher MOI for that forgiveness factor. So possibly 5 providing a little bit more forgiveness. That's a nice strike, opening shot. Again, a little bit of a fade there. That's a good strike though. So we've got, let's get out to 98 carry. So we've got, again, adjustability on the neck sleeve. Now this particular head, the only one I could get hold of was a 10.5, unfortunately. So what I've done here is I've dropped the loft in the neck sleeve down 1 degree to 9.5. But what that also does, it opens the club face by 2 degrees. So what I would probably say is in the standard setting, it did look like it sat a little bit close, as you probably see with a lot of the drivers that offer a little bit more forgiveness, weight back, etc. They tend to sit a little bit more closed. Most golfers tend to sort of fade the ball or slice it. So as I drop it and it opens it up by 2 degrees, it sits to me now with what looks very, very square. Oh, that's a good shot. It's probably the best of the lot there, to be honest. Very straight, looks to be pretty long there. 167 ball, 302, lovely shot. That's the one you want every single time. Good flight, good spin there. Again, the sound is exactly the same as what we've just seen in the 7 model. You know, it's just that little bit higher sort of pitch, a little bit, what I would maybe, you don't, again, what I mentioned earlier, you don't sort of expect to see that. You see that carbon, you expect to have that more muted sound, but it's just got a little bit more of that tinny sort of sound to it. Slightly toe, but it's off and away very nicely again. Yeah, it looks to be carrying out there quite a long way. Yeah, see, that's a toe shot and that's flying fantastically well. I know I've missed that. That flew beautiful. Really consistent there. So that's possibly maybe what they're sort of talking about maybe there with that forgiveness, because I'm only subtly moving it around that sort of centre bit. That was toe. Again, I felt that. It flew great, and look at the dispersion there on those 4 shots. Very, very tight, all in a similar position, and front to back dispersion's not changing at all. Oh, and again, bombed. Absolutely bombed. That feels really good. Again, exactly the same. This is a test now. One more shot, shot number 6. Can I keep that dispersion? The pressure, the pressure is on. Oh, and he can as well. Oh, that's lovely. I really enjoyed hitting that. I expected to hit the 7 a little bit more. I prefer the 7 probably as a look. There we go. absolutely tight on that dispersion, really good. But to be honest, the 5 I really enjoyed, and just as I moved my strike subtly there, it didn't really change much for me. So is that because that weight's more centre at the back, helping that slight more stability on off-centre hits? Quite possibly. Technology in the 5 is exactly the same as the 7, got the rebound system in there, rebound frame should I say, got adjustability there, just after the weight in the bottom changes, just that head shape slightly changes as well. Okay, let's go and check those numbers out in a little bit more detail between the ZX7 and the ZX5. Okay, so just start on a little bit of a side on and down overview of those shots. So with the white width is the ZX7, you see that one going up the left, a couple going up the right there, a little bit of a wider dispersion, see quite a sort of high ball flight there, and then I pop it up against the yellow, and you can see much tighter, not only through the trajectory, the way the ball came out, and again my strikes will obviously make a part of this, won't it, but quite tight on this sort of height area, tight on the obviously the land average there, but also then on the shot direction got similar sort of shots, you know, going back to the 7, a little bit more spread, and then going up to that one you can see much tighter. Okay, and then when we have a look at the numbers there, so we can see club head speed exactly the same, 114. Got the club moving fairly quick for me today, normally around the sort of 111, 112, so just moving it a little bit quicker today, which is quite nice. Ball speed pretty much identical at 166, launch identical at 12. Spin number here, which is quite interesting, is averaging at 2948 with the 7 and 2372 with the 5. So you'd think that would be the other way around. Now, having said that, strikes make an important factor of this, doesn't it? So obviously we've got some higher spins with the 7 there, where I caught a couple a little bit in the heel, which we know the heel shots will tend to spin up, toe shots tend to take a bit of spin off. Didn't really get any heel, well, I didn't get any heel shots with the 5, so that's probably where it's just popped that difference up between those two. But obviously the ZX5 there at 2-3 spin, and that 12 is where you control and that height of the flight, as we've just seen on that other picture. So carry distance absolutely on the button with both of them at 301 as an average, running out just that little bit more with the ZX5 purely because of that lower spin and probably that slightly lower sort of ball flight on that particular shot, land angle coming in a little bit flatter there compared to the 7. Okay everybody, so there we go, there's the new Srixon ZX7 and ZX5, 2 really good drivers in my opinion. I think I like the look of both of those, probably prefer the look of the 7, but I do prefer that performance of the 5 and that batch of shots I've hit. Felt a little bit more forgiving. I wasn't offended with the slightly larger appearance of the 5 because it is still a very nice shape and is only just a fraction bigger from that front to the back. Again, a bit of adjustability in that hose. I think for me there, knocking that loft down to 9.5 with the 10.5 head, just slightly opening the club face, worked really well for me personally. So it goes to maybe show, would you go into a 9.5, have it standard? Possibly the 5 might sit a little bit short, whereas they're up to 10.5, which I wouldn't normally purchase or try or have myself, but then move the loft back down to get the right face setting for my eye basically, and also my sort of shot shape. So that's where the adjustability in the neck sleeve is very useful, but again it's important that you go and get fit, try it with an experienced fitter who knows what they're doing with these neck sleeves, and to try and help it within your game and your club delivery. Okay, post comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the new Srixon ZX range of woods. Really nice. I think they're a big thumbs up from Srixon. They're moving things on quite nicely. So post your comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the new range of the ZX5 and 7 from Srixon, and also the irons. My review video is on my channel already with that, so you can go and check that out. 3-word review of this is going to come very shortly as well. So thanks so much for watching, appreciate you watching the video as always. If you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the content, please just hit that subscribe button, very much appreciate it. Ring the bell, get future notifications. Hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.